Hello, not long ago I did a test task. In this video I show and tell how I did it and what I got in the end. In this task I had to make a project from scratch and complete 3 tasks. The first task was to create 144 sprites, place it in a stack, one on top of other, like a deck of cards. The top card should cover the lower one, but not fully. Every second, the top card should move to another stack. The animation of the movement should take 2 seconds. The second task was to make a system that allows mixing text and images, like a custom emojis, and use it to render a dialogue between characters with data taken from an endpoint. The third task was to make fire from particles. There should be not more than 10 sprites on the screen at the same time. The code must be written in TypeScript using pixi.js version 7 for rendering. Each task should be available through a built-in menu. Rendering should work on mobile and desktop. Show FPS on the top left corner. Run the app in full screen. After finishing the task, I had to send a link to the Git repository, also a link to the live web version. Time to complete the task 24 hours. Everything is great, if not the 24-hour limit. First, I decided to find a Favicon and found one I liked on the first page. I also decided to use the color scheme from that Favicon. Then I made some interface elements in Figma using the same colors. I am not really a designer, so it's what it is. I didn't spend too much time on design. We remember there's only one day. Then I started coding. The code is in the CRC folder. The root has the main project. Images for each scene are in separate folders. UI images are also in separate folder. Audio files are also separated by scene. In the main file, I initialized Pixi. I added a button for full screen mode. I made the canvas always fit screen. Then I added the FPS display and loaded the scene manager. I also put the source code into separate folders for each scene. In each scene, I moved the main settings out to make things easier. I also tried to keep functions short with few parameters. I used clear names for functions and variables, and I wrote comments for code. The chat data loads from the endpoint, but there's a coarse policy issue. I tried to fix it with a proxy, but it is not stable. The right way is to fix in both on the back end and the front end, but that takes time, and half a day was already gone. I quickly moved on to make the fire. It looks simple, but only 10 sprites on the screen. That's tricky. Here's what I got. A flat background color looked bad, so I used parallel noise. I think it looks a bit better now. The cards are okay, I like them. We can change the number of stacks in the code. I added buttons to change the animation speed. The cards have a back side. The stand has a colored label. The stand switch button looks good, but the speed buttons are sprites, and they look pixelated. There is sound. We can turn off all sound globally. FPS is shown too. The chat loads. There's a loading message. Images are shown, that's good. There's sound too, but the text block sizes are buggy. This part was the hardest. The fire burns. There's animation and sound. It looks like fire. I tried to add a glow effect to the fire sprites, but the glow didn't really glow. I could add a shader, but I was almost out of time, and I still had to upload the project to GitHub and publish it. I go to GitHub and upload it. That part is easy. I tried to publish it on GitHub. The project doesn't work. Time is running out. I get nervous. I go to Netlify and upload it. It works. The project is online. I send the email with the links. I used pixi.js for rendering. I used howler.js for sound. For FPS display, stats.js. I built the project with vite. What could be better in my opinion? What I didn't have time for. In the card scene, I could add controls to change the number of stack and cards, show how many cards are left in the tag, add a start dealing button, because now dealing starts right after loading the scene. In the chat, I need to fix the text block height. It would be nice to let an user enter a name and a text, but there's a lot of work because it must also support custom emojis. Also, a scroll bar could help to move between messages. In the fire scene, I wanted to make a few fire types and a switch to pick between them. Each fire would have different effects and look different. One would have a glow effect, another would definitely use a custom shader. I think fire looks best with the shaders. That's all. Thanks for watching.